John Heyman gives us the latest in regard to Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman. We're going to react live next on MetCast. Welcome back to MetCast, friends. As always, I am Rain. If you're enjoying our content, we always just ask you to like and subscribe. Help us get to our next subscriber goal of 3,500 subs. A reminder, tomorrow night we will be joined live by Tim Healy about around 8:30 p.m. Make sure you're in here and get your comments and questions into Tim Healy, who's covered the Mets for forever. He's the one that broke the Teoscar Hernandez news that the Mets offered him a 2-year deal. He declined it before going back to the Dodgers. However, a lot is being made of where Pete Alonso stands with the New York Mets. I, for one, am a little bit nervous because I feel like once he or Bregman signs, most teams are going to lose their leverage. But John Heyman specifically spoke on both players today. First, we're going to get to Pete Alonso and what he said. Let's take a look.
Are the Mets willing to give 5 years for Pete Alonso? I do think that I was going to say the age. I do think the years are the hang up right now on
5 years. Think about this. Last offseason, he turned down an alleged 7-year contract extension. You're talking knocking 2 years off that extension. Now, I don't know if that first year would have been last year, so potentially 6 years, but I highly doubt that. I'm thinking it probably would have been tagged on to last year. So you're already down 2 years. It looks like the Mets may be at 3 and he's at 5. Could they meet at 4? We'll see.
The Pete Alonso situation. They're going to figure out the money in terms of dollars per year, but it is the years that we are talking about. Are the Mets willing to give 5 years for Pete Alonso?
That's his update. I wanted to keep it short and sweet regard to Pete Alonso. It is the years. It has nothing to do with the AAV. It looks like the Mets are targeting specifically a low years, high AAV, similar to what they did with Verlander and Scherzer just a couple years ago. Because let's be honest, us as Met fans might feel some type of way. We feel some loyalty to Pete Alonso, but statistics and analytics say that he's probably not going to age that well. Now, there's the outliers like Frank Thomas. Is Pete Alonso Frank Thomas? No. But could he be productive at his age 34 season, where if you paid him 5 years, it'd be 30, 31, 32, 33, 34? I mean, if you could get him till age 33 and get an opt-out where it's you give him maybe, this is what I was thinking. I know I said yesterday 4 for 100. Maybe it's 4 for 110. And maybe you can make it where there's escalators. If he hits a certain amount of home runs, if he leads the Mets all time, or he has a certain amount of RBIs per season, where there could be escalators, where maybe it starts out at $27 million a year on a shorter term contract, which will blow away the AAV on Olsen's, but 27 that could escalate to 30 over 4 years, where maybe you give him an opt-out after years 1 and year 3, where if he does great next year, he can opt out, hit the free agency market at age 31, and look at Christian Walker and want to beat that contract in regard to years, not necessarily AAV, because we all know Christian Walker got $20 million per year. And then maybe you make it where he gets it after year 3. So maybe he's playing 31, 32, and 33. He can opt out of that last year and try to get another 3-year deal at age 33, where it'll carry him 33, 34, 35. So if he has back-to-back good seasons or an okay 3-season stretch, he should still be valuable at the DH position. Probably not at 30 million, 27 to $30 million a year like we're talking, but maybe he gets that 4-year, $80 million contract from somebody, which a lot of, the MLB landscape is going to be changed over the next 3 years. Washington's high in prospects. We all know about the Orioles. Tampa Bay has loaded up their farm system, hoping to project for their next new stadium. Oakland's got some prospects out there. So you never know. $20 million for 4 years might not be a ton for a player of Pete's caliber in 3 to 4 years. Now, there's another video I want to get to in regard to Alex Bregman and where John Heyman sees him landing and what's the latest with him. Let's take a look.
Get the Bregman. Yes, I do think the Tigers are a possibility, as I wrote in the New York Post. This is more than a month ago, so this has been going on a long time now. I wrote Tigers and Red Sox. Of course, Tigers, AJ Hinch, the manager.
Some things that I'm hearing around MLB right now is that Devers may not be so fond of moving from third to first. I think he personally wants to be the third baseman, and that might be the holdup in Alex Bregman coming to going to the Red Sox.
Of the Tigers had him as the manager of the Astros. And the people who had Bregman, they love him. Alex Cora, same thing with the Red Sox.
Yep.
I think the Red Sox are an outside possibility at this point. I don't think it's as strong as it was previously. My understanding is Rafael Devers wants to stay at third base.
I did not watch this. I promise you guys prior to bringing it to you, because I like to live react to a lot of these things. I didn't even listen to the Pete clip prior. Somebody sent that to me, but I was told it was short, so that's why I kept it short. But that's been the rumor all season long, that Rafael Devers is not keen on moving to first base, especially this early in his career. Maybe for winning he does it, or for a crazy caliber player. Bregman is a very good player, not an elite talent, so maybe that's why he's reluctant to move off third base.
And seems to be likely to stay at third base at this point. And the Red Sox have come out and said they're not trying to trade Casas. I mean, that's kind of a gray area. Are they trying? Are they listening? What's going on? Obviously, there have been a lot of reports about Casas, but right now they have a starting first baseman, starting third baseman. So it doesn't appear that Devers is moving. Could the Red Sox sign Bregman for second base? Not going to rule it out. So I'm going to leave the Red Sox on my list for Bregman. I don't think that's the most likely scenario.
I think his contract demands would have to come down for him to land with the Red Sox.
I think the Tigers are a possibility. The Jays, a possibility.
The Jays have been throwing money literally at every free agent this offseason. The Juan Sotos, the Corbin Burns. It's going to be Bregman. Nobody wants to go play in Toronto. The taxes are very high there. They got a lot of political stuff happening over there. And now, think about it. Unless you're being crazy overpaid like Willy Adames was to go to San Francisco, odds are the best player on that team, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., is going to be gone after this season.
The Jays have, I understand, they tried big for Soto. They were in with the biggest offer originally. They really set the market, as the Giants did for Judge. They were at that $760 million mark and didn't get it done. They've tried for a lot of big stars. We know about the Ohtani situation. Ohtani didn't want to leave Southern California, so Toronto can't take that.
It's just nobody wants to go there. It's a spade, call a spade a spade. For some reason, right now, players don't want to go play for the Giants. I'm assuming it's because the division they're in. You look at the Dodgers, it's going to be very hard to win that division. And then you look at the Padres. Although Heyman reported earlier in the offseason, which still could come to fruition, is that the Padres are looking to shed payroll. Maybe a Yu Darvish is on the table. Potentially a Manny Machado may be on the table. Maybe if San Diego eats some of that contract. Allegedly, Xander Bogaerts may be available for the right price, even though he's been down. He has that big contract left. They're trying to shed payroll. So going into the West, you already know you're the third team. It's not like the NL East where pretty much you have three teams competing for that division, but they're all legitimate contenders. Nobody's taking the Giants seriously at this point. Even if they landed a Corbin Burns, I'm still not taking them serious. Maybe to be the last wild card, second wild card, but that's pretty much their ceiling for me. And when you look at the Blue Jays, you have the Orioles, you have the Red Sox that are spending and trading for guys like Garrett Crochet, the Yankees who are always spending. You know you're going to be the fourth or fifth team in that division. And when you look around the majors and you look at the top farm systems, Tampa's right there. So for me, over the next decade, they're going to be more competitive than the Blue Jays, especially if they start spending, which I think they might with the new stadium. You might be looking at a long road in regard to the Blue Jays, especially if they lose Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There's no doubt, and we heard Juan Soto talk about it during his contract negotiations with teams. He was looking at teams' minor league systems. Look at what Bleacher Report just released the last couple of days. The Yankees ranked 29th in MLB in farm system rankings. The Mets are 16th, and a lot of in MLB.com, they go as high as 10. The Yankees are consistently in the bottom 5 of baseball in farm system rankings. And you look, they have an old aging roster. Let's be honest. Judge is already about to be in his mid-30s. You have Garrett Cole in his mid 30s. You have Paul Goldschmidt on a 1-year contract at 37 years old. Yes, Volpe is young. Dominguez is young, but Volpe had a bad down year last year. Dominguez, we don't know what he is. And then you're looking around, the rest of the clubhouse. You're like, where's all this talent coming from? Wells is a very solid catcher, but where's all this talent coming through the minor leagues? You look at the Mets, they have top 100 prospects, the Drew Gilberts, the Acuñas, the Jet Williams, the Ryan Cliffords, the Brandon Sproats. They have guy after guy after guy. They could trade for anybody they want right now. They could have traded for Garrett Crochet, would have cost an absolute ton, and that's why they didn't do it. But let's be honest, if they really wanted him, they could have had him. And that's something that the Mets have over everybody. And except for the Dodgers, because the Dodgers always have a top-end farm system. But the Mets aren't only pretty young on the Major League roster. I mean, Juan Soto's 26. Lindor just hit 30. You're looking at guys like Alvarez in their early 20s. Their pitching rotation, yes, is up there in years. That's something they're going to have to address. But when you look around the overall aspect of the team, Mark Viento's turning 25, Brett Beatty's 25, Mauricio's 23, 24. Then you have all these guys coming up. They have a very bright future, and that's what I think allured Juan Soto to this situation. I think, and that's why Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to leave the Toronto Blue Jays eventually.
That personally, but it does feel like players aren't that anxious to go there. Don't get it. Beautiful city. I got a little bit ripped in Canada, and I get it for saying I think Ohtani in LA was a great scenario. I happen to like LA, but I mean, that's a marquee franchise. He's an all-time great player. To me, that made sense. Alex Bregman, great two-way player. Even last year, we started slow. He still had a 4 WAR, won the Gold Glove. Terrific player, 132 OPS plus lifetime. So I'm going to mention a bunch of teams here. Posey do anything else? We're going to get to that as a possibility there. But with Bregman, I've got a whole bunch of teams. Tigers, Jays. Here's the 2 surprise teams. I'm not going to be shocked, but I haven't seen them connected to Bregman at this point. But I could see them looking at third base. One is the Cubs. I mean, I know they have a kid who they're thinking of moving up and giving that shot, Shaw. But Alex Bregman, the Cubs can certainly afford it. They've cleared payroll with a Bellinger trade. To me,
remember, Pete Alonso was linked to the Cubs for like what felt for years. And I'm shocked that, even moving Bellinger, it's really interesting. Really interesting to see what's going to happen there.
That makes sense. I mean, I think the Cubs are an outside possibility, at least. I don't know. They may come out and say, we're not in it. I don't know. Haven't heard that yet, but I do see them as an outside possibility. Again, I would say Tigers and Jays seem like the most likely at this moment as we do this at 3:00 on January 1st. Easy to remember the date. D-backs. Look, they just got Corbin Burns. That was a shocker. Do they have more?
D-backs are always that very strange team. They lose a guy like Christian Walker, but then they go sign Burns. Like, remember years ago, they were competitive. They go out and give a boatload of money to Zach Greinke. It's like they do that once every decade where they come out of nowhere and give a boatload of money and convince a free agent to go there, because a lot of MLB players actually live out in Arizona. They like the dry heat. And that's a lure to them. That's what got Corbin Burns to go there over bigger offers from the Giants and the Blue Jays.
More money. Not sure, but he would be a fit. Their offense was really good last year, top 5 offense, but Alex Bregman certainly would help. He is from New Mexico, as I mentioned. Arizona, he's working out. I'm sure he would like that very much. So I'm going to say D-backs, outside possibility. Mariners, I don't think they have money, and I don't see a right-handed bat going there.
It's interesting because he doesn't even mention the Mets in regard to that. I think the only possibility really of Pete Alonso, of Alex Bregman coming here at this point is if the Mets miss out on Pete Alonso. I don't know if David Stearns is going to drag this out. I mean, think about it. It's already January 1st. Next month, you got pitchers and catchers. Do you really want to get caught with your pants down? Breaking news, Pete Alonso signs with the San Francisco Giants and we're left at the altar? We're going to be trying to start Brett Beatty or Ronnie Mauricio. That's a major drop-off because you don't know what they are. I think also the Mets, it recently came out that they're interested in adding a potential outfield bat, an impact bat. I think Santander is in play. Do I love him as a player? Not really. Strikes out a lot, a low batting average, but his OPS is up there and he hits nukes. If you're telling me you could potentially add Pete and Santander, and now Brandon Nimmo, I think could fall into that 4th outfielder role where He'll still get 500 at bats. He'll be DHing against right-handers because they don't have a solidified DH. And then maybe you give an off day in left field, an off day in center, an off day in right field to Soto, and you have the DH to play. He'd be the ultimate MacGyver there. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, he's making $20 million a year, so he needs to start, yada, yada. Maybe Santander ends up being the left field, right field backup in the DH because we all know he's a butcher in the outfield. There's a lot of things you can mix around there and give guys days off, but that would lengthen the lineup ridiculously if you brought in both Alonso and Santander. And just imagine the Mets pony up and they trade for a guy like Luis Castillo. So then you're adding Juan Soto, Santander, and Castillo to the team you had last year. That's a home run offseason me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments of Heyman's comments. What do you think of my comments in regard to the players that I want to add? The Santander, Alonso, Castillo, make a run at the World Series potentially. You're adding that frontline starter, that big bat that could lengthen the lineup even more. That's my thoughts as of right now. As content continues to roll in, we'll be with you guys tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Tim Healy's going to join us live on. It's going to be streamed on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. You can comment from all three platforms. However, YouTube will be prioritized, and any super chats will be read immediately. We'll have a moderator in there for us. But again, YouTube chats will be prioritize. So if you're watching us on YouTube, lucky for you, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be excluded if you're watching on X or Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on this. I'll try to set out a reminder prior. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow night live with Tim Healy and Dan Bartels on MetCast.